Hello, GLEC, and welcome to the first stream match of the finals for the fall. What year is this? 2024 games. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Grimbo, also known as Matt.
And my name is Monsieur, also known as Adam.
And I'm really excited to be here commentating for this. This is my first time commentating on this stream, and we're going to have our 4th and 5th seed playing in League of Legends. So really exciting. We have obviously me. I'm Grimbo. I am a representative. That's the wrong side. Representative of Manchester, and Monsieur here.
And then I'm a member of Valparaiso University. And then obviously you see both of us here, both loving the cast and privileged to be able to offer you the first GLEC match that's being offered here today.
Yep, and we are actually heading right into draft already. Looks like Manchester's going to be banning out the Zac. I know your top laner, I believe, plays a bit of Zac, or
our jungler, Super Bear.
Right? Okay.
He loves his Zac. Zac is a personal fan favorite. But you also see from Valpo that both teams going relatively fast, showing that prep is probably showing off pretty well. We're seeing the Valpo ban the Yone. I'm assuming that is
our mid laner, Erklin.
Erklin's Yone. Well, hopefully he'll have to find something else to be able to play with today. We see the Udyr. Udyr's been really strong overall in all sorts of maps.
That is also one of our junglers' mains. He does play a lot of Udyr. And Ezreal obviously being one of our main ADCs as well.
And then obviously from Manchester, we see the Aurora. Aurora's been a really good flex pick between our mid and top laner. So again, really good pick to see from, or an unfortunate pick on my end, good pick on your guys' end. For it being Aurora, and then Talia, obviously, it's been one of our mid laners, staples, and just a fun champion because you get to throw rocks at people.
Of course,
it's not too bloody.
And speaking of throwing rocks, we do actually see Skarner coming in from Manchester University. Now, obviously, I am a Skarner main, so this is really exciting to see. I talked a lot with Gabe Armstrong Boys, our jungler, about Skarner, and we also lock in the Corki, who is actually really strong in the bot lane right now. So that is very exciting to see.
Definitely, the Corki buffs are something to keep track of. But it is going to be going into the Valpo Ashe. Ashe also, in addition to Corki, has been just so tuned to just be so strong right now. As soon as Ashe is able to start getting any amount of auto attacks and that's slow, it's just absolutely brutal for anyone. Corki obviously has the ability to disengage, but still being forced to use it as a disengage instead of an engage is just something for you guys to keep track of.
Now, on that note, we are also going into the second ban stage as well. We're going to see the Camille ban coming out from Manchester. Obviously, the Malphite ban coming out from Valpo. I do like the Malphite ban here. We do have a very all-in kind of dive comp with Skarner Galio. There's going to be a lot of plays to be made there with CC chains, with Engage plus R plus Galio R, Smackdown. No one can move, and you get one shot by Corki all the while. So I do think the Malphite ban here is really good from Valpo, but we also going to be banning the Nautilus. Just kind of stopping the Ashe Knot potential that we can see in the bot lane.
Yeah, relatively strong, especially, again, really good pick from the Malphite ban, especially could be really good synergistically with the Galio. It could have been a disaster because, again, if Galio's starting to channel as Malphite goes in, hits like 3 people, Galio continues the chain and hits 3 and then can just W taunt and just leave for like a 3 or 4 second CC chain. But from the side of Valpo, we are going to see that Silas ban. I know I was saying earlier with Grimbo here that as a former mid laner, Silas, the mage killer, definitely a good ban to see go out the way. And then we see the Camille ban again. Dreadful, our top laner, one of his comfort picks is usually able to pop off pretty well, and also just is relatively annoying to deal with as a now recent top laner.
But we are going into our second round of picks. Manchester picking up the Milio. So Milio, Corki, pretty safe lane, relatively speaking. Obviously, Corki has a lot of poke in his kit, but Milio's just going to be able to help that poke out, keep him healthy, make sure he's not as easily dove, which is really important when you have Ashe, Jarvan, Rakan, a very, very dive-oriented bot side like lineup. And in the top lane, we also have Aatrox. Now, I do know that our top laner does not like fighting Aatrox. That is, from my understanding, that is his least favorite matchup to play. But on that note, he has picked up the Cassante, which I know is actually a really hard matchup for Aatrox too, right?
It is, specifically because whenever if Cassante W's to get unstoppable in the middle of like an Aatrox CC chain, Aatrox can't CC, and again, with the Q1, Q2, Q3 sweet spots, like the little highlighted indicator on each of one of the 3 abilities, those do extra damage, and if he's not able to knock those up and keep those consistent, then a lot of damage and a lot of healing falls off on him. And then in regards to the final pick or one of the second round picks, we do see the Rakan coming out from the Law, relatively really strong pick, and also really good ability to like run in, charm a person, especially if he's able to get a charm on Corki or Milio. Milio's either going to be forced to cleanse the response, or Corki's going to have to, again, find a way to disengage.
And he's a very mobile champ, too, so he's going to be able to affect the map a lot. We will see probably in a lot of these games. He'll probably just be, I mean, if he can't obviously force the Ashe to get ahead, we can definitely expect him to go, mid, help out Syndra, get her scaling. Maybe even like a cheeky little roam top to try to like get Aatrox ahead, because obviously Aatrox and K'Sante matchup kind of hard. K'Sante, we could expect to maybe be pushed up into Aatrox a bit more.
Yeah, I would expect to see. Yeah, I would expect to see K'Sante being pushed up into Aatrox. Just looking at the champions, not looking at the players quite yet. Galio definitely an extremely strong counter into that Syndra. Syndra's been super strong in the meta recently, even though she was targeted with some nerfs in this latest patch. The ability for Syndra to kind of be a really good power scaler, but also a really good safe. Kind of conditional engage, because if you land your Q and then you use your E to push the Q in and stun somebody, you can just choose to go in or not. And obviously that E is on a long cooldown, but definitely not something that is incredibly unlike a support, but just a lot of damage.
Right. Now, I do want to point out, obviously, like when we look at these team comps from Manchester, I think I see a really big all-in let's fight comp, right? Like we have Skarner ult with, or like first of all, Skarner does way too much damage. First of all, let's get that out of the way.
For a tank, yes.
As a Skarner main, this champ he doesn't do take damage, he does fighter damage. But Skarner has a ton of damage, front load as well in his Q, and he has a lot of lockdown. We have a lot of Galio lockdown with his ult. We have K'Sante obviously being able to take someone out of the fight. Milio obviously being able to be solid disengage when we don't want to take fights. I think Manchester here has a really strong team fight comp. The only issue in my mind right now is that Manchester is a little bit low in damage. A lot of it is front loaded, obviously. And with that being said, a lot of it is AD front loaded, not even really AP. The only AP on the team is Galio. I guess Milio too, but I don't really want to count Milio with damage.
If I'm seeing a blue lock Milio, I'm gonna be very interested in seeing your support doing the damage of the Milio Q, because I know it does a lot of damage, especially seeing like those clips as soon as he first came out. Just watching like the Christopher Ronaldo kick, and then they would just like hit, and then like a third of their health bar would just disappear with one Q, and I was like, that's a fair and balanced support that has amazing peel and utility. But I was going to say, in response to you, Valpo's definitely a lot more of a pick comp. Again, looking at the Ashe, looking at that Syndra, you're looking to catch someone out and then quickly be able to burst them down. Specifically, again, if that Corki, or really if that Corki is out of that, if Valpo's able to get that Corki out of that fight, there's just
they can't win team fights anymore.
Yeah, there's not a lot of there's just no damage there being had, except for obviously K'Sante all outing, but then K'Sante trades all that offensive, or all that defensive for that offensive. So again, if he's able to be caught out after he ults, that's also bad news. But we are going to see though that if Valpo is able to choose the fights, that they want, I think that's where the advantage for Valpo will be for this first game. And if Manchester is going to be I think forced a little bit to have to play around team fights, so around Grubs, around Dragon, around Rift Herald, but if they're able to play those fights well, that's Manchester's win condition. If they play well, if they play in team fights, and if Valpo finds a pick or two, that's Valpo's win con.
And like conversely, I kind of want to point out that once Manchester, if Manchester has the ability to get picks here too. Obviously with Skarner, with Corki, with K'Sante, they have the ability to get picks as well. So I would be a little concerned if they were able to pick that Syndra, because I think Manchester's team is they are fat. Like these guys are not dying. Like Skarner is going to go Heart Seal Sterix, he's not dying. Galio, I mean it's Galio, right? Like he's not dying either. K'Sante, the obscene, he is not dying either. So honestly, I think Manchester's team is going to be really tough to kill, especially if they can get rid of that Syndra. Aatrox is really going to be the only one that can. I mean, obviously Aatrox is going to heal a lot. He's going to do a lot of damage as well. But I think in a very long team fight, if they kill a Syndra, it's going to be over. I think.
I 100% agree. And then final thing to point out here is looking around between Grimbo and I looking at the OPGGs for the other team. I think what we're going to see, even with the matchups, is I think top lane is going to be in slight favor of Manchester to start with, and then depending on how that Cassante is able to play his advantage well, I think we'll see that come into the mid to late game. I do think that even though Valpo has the disadvantage for Galio versus Syndra, the Syndra stacking just is so powerful, and Galio's not going to care as much if he gets hit with an ability or two. So I think we're going to see Syndra might lose really, really early. But without that being said, too much pregame, and we have the official first quarterfinal game of Valparaiso University versus Manchester. Just as a reminder, Valpo is on your blue side, and Manchester is on your red.
And it looks like both teams are going to be 5-starring here. Pretty safe start from both sides, just making sure, hey, we're not going to see any invades. Truthfully, there's not a ton of invade risk, I think, from either side. I think, obviously, Ashe is very strong early. But, I mean, obviously, Corki is also pretty strong early, too. So I think there's a lot of risk for invades on either side in case any one side decides to stack a bush. So, truthfully, I think in this case, there's kind of... Yep, it just kind of like playing safe, watching, seeing are they going to invade, are they going to not. It's pretty standard practice and very safe thing to do in this situation.
100% agree. And taking a quick look as there's no current action going on, this is a good opportunity to take a look at summoner spells. We do see that both sides are going to have a double TP both in their top and their mid lane. Jungler obviously about the same, and the big difference is we're going to see a lot more. We're going to see again that disengage potential from the Corki and the Milio with the cleanse and heal respectively, and we see Diadem with the barrier, and we see the Law with the ignite. So again, they're looking for a little bit more survivability in that team fight to be able to get like a good pick.
Yeah, and looking down into our items, obviously we see Doran Shield versus Doran Blade in the top lane. This is kind of expected to be for the Cassante Aatrox matchup. Doran's Ring mid lane, that's kind of standard as well. We're actually seeing early trades already coming in from top side. Cassante is actually going to lose that trade as well. But in the jungle is really where I want to point it out. Is Skarner is actually going green pet this game. Now, traditionally, I go blue pet as Skarner because I think he really kind of needs that. Like, it's kind of like to help him engage a bit faster and kind of run around the map a bit more. I don't think green pet is necessarily wrong, just not something I personally would go. And obviously, Jarvan with green pet is standard. Yeah,
Jarvan green pet standard. Again, way too early to talk about any sort of CS leads as the waves are, both people are manipulating the way that they want to. A quick call out though that the Valpo bot side is hitting level 2 first, so they could be looking for more of an all-in competent does stuff like that. Valpo is going to be abusing.
Actually, we're looking at potential gank mid lane right now coming in from Skarner, from Jarvan. Not going to quite get anything except for half of Galio's health bar.
But that is, yeah, going allow good opportunity seen from Super Bear, but also really good from the Galio, just being able to play it safe and not being forced to burn a summoner spell.
Right. Obviously, keeping your summoner spells is really important as well because those are your play make ability spells, and obviously, if you're against a Jarvan, you're going to want to keep that flash for later on as well.
And I was going to say something also to point out though is with that being said, that does show that I think Valpo's jungler was able to be showed. At least Manchester will be able to point out that Super Bear had started in the top side of his jungle, his blue. So that does mean that Skarner right now is clearing up into his top red. So Skarner could be looking for an engage here as he finishes his full camp clear.
Now, I do think an early gank from Skarner would be very strong here. Obviously, Aatrox is staying for a bit, but he can lose his entire health bar here if Aatrox is not too careful.
Skarner is preparing his...
He's actually walking in, grabbing the rock. He's going in for the E. He grabs it, gets a stun onto the wall. He gets so much damage on. No stun from Pokey. He's getting as much as he can, and Skarner gets the first blood.
Definitely really good play make from Manchester, being able to utilize the fact that Dreadful was pushed out slightly and be able to use that to their advantage. Dreadful also did, point to Dreadful, however, Dreadful knew that he was just probably going to die from that engage, and so did not burn Flash. So that summoner spell will be available. Oh, and Dreadful is going to get the hit. And I was going to say both Skarner and Cassante are low, but Dreadful has to catch that wave in order for
we're seeing an engage bot in mid here too. Jarvan went in on the Galio, did a ton of damage, and actually early gets a kill. I wish we could have saw that. I wish the camera would have panned over to see that, but I think right there, I think just Jarvan try to engage on the on the Galio to try to get as much damage as he can, and Galio was able to stun him under turret, get a couple turret shots, and I mean at that point it's kind of just tragic.
Yes, definitely tragic. Good again. Good look from Super Bear, but just misjudging that turret range just slightly. And I know that obviously that we see it and it sucks because we both have felt those before.
Oh yeah.
Sante's able to do a lot of damage. We see Skarner in the Skarner bot side. I'm looking to prepare for the first dragon, which is Ocean. For those of you who don't know, Ocean's buff is that it does a little bit of healing every few seconds as long as you're recovering some missing health. So especially for like poke comps or ones that like you are necessarily trying to whittle down the opponent over time, Ocean Dragon is really nice. But it is going to be nice for either team to be able to pick up here, as early game healing is just so impactful, being able to stay in lane longer without backing.
Of course, without a doubt, and it looks like Skarner is going on to his Wolves. He's probably pathing topside, looking to prepare for grubs. Milio has backed, so it looks like Milio is actually looking to go into topside as well and prioritize making sure we have a 4-man topside for this grub spawn.
As I say, we do same thing with Milio. We do see the Rakan roaming up to the top side in preparation for grubs. Both teams deciding that the first grubs is more important than the first dragon, which I would have to agree with that choice. Grubs have just been so strong that it's kind of crazy.
And it looks like Jarvan here is kind of out alone right now. He is starting the grubs right now. Cassante is roaming down. Milio, Skarner here. It's currently a 2v1,
3v2.
3v2 right now.
Skarner bashing out Super Bear. Super Bear dashing out.
Here's a big stun. Galio's ulting in. He's actually going to hit the Jarvan, and Jarvan has to get out with his E. And right there, boom, Pokey gets in and gets the kill on the Jarvan.
Definitely seen Super Bear there not be able to have that full vision clear in preparation for that. In order for that objective, and again, really good opportunity by Manchester to be able to pick out that fight. We do see that Driffle did pop ultimate, but then he also realized that he wasn't going to be able to be too helpful and will disengage instead of trying to poke that out. We do see a lane swap though. With that being said, Syndra did roam towards the bot lane for that engage, and with that, Syndra is now up 20 CS over Galio. And for those of you who don't know, a kill, while it's obviously amazing and what you want to go for, kills are worth about 15 CS worth of loot, I guess I should say. And that will give Jakimbo the level advantage and also give Valpo their opportunity to get the drag.
Yes, without a doubt. Now, I mean, you do mention it, but you know, trading like 20 CS for the mid lane as well as getting Dragon, it is going to kind of make up for that kill plus grubs from Valpo's side. So I'm really interested to see who's actually necessarily ahead. Manchester is actually going to be ahead by just about 1,000 gold, which is definitely not insurmountable by any means. Any team can make up 1,000 gold just like from one team fight, yeah. Truthfully.
Or even just even better turret plating management. I'm trying to look. I think all 15 turret plates are still on the board for all teams right now. And then just taking again quick look at CS, even with the kill on Dreadful, we do see Dreadful being just about even, if not slightly higher on CS. He does miss it, but that is going to force the Cassante to back. Jungle basically perfectly even in CS, however, slightly going to Skarner because of that kill and the extra assist. And then we already talked about mid lane, bottom lane actually neutralize it out.
Skarner is actually looking in for a nasty little flank here. I actually really like this gank. This gank is always very strong right here. And right there, there's going to be not quite a stun on Ashe, but so much slow coming down. There's the R. She has to flash away, but I mean, truthfully, getting an ADC flash is probably one of the most important summoner spells to get in the game.
It is, because it's such strong ability for ADCs. Don't have much movement unless you're playing Xayah. So being able to force them to have to play slower is definitely important to see here. And again, another good opportunity from Skarner, just being able to utilize his champion very effectively and just be able to get a lot of getting a lot of ganks in and a lot of successful or at least tempo slowing ganks from Valpo.
Now, meanwhile, although Skarner did get those really nice ganks off, Jarvan is able to get some alone time in Skarner's top side. Although, meanwhile, Skarner did also get some, actually, nice little mid lane gank here. I like this as well, coming from the Raptors camp. So much damage coming out. There's so much burn. I mean, Syndra has to just kind of leave that, no?
She does. We are seeing we are seeing that Skarner and Super Bear are going to be squabbling. Jakimbo is going to try to assist, but Jakimbo does have to be careful here.
Huge damage coming in. Super Bear is going to get the kill. But here comes Cassante. Can he do anything right here?
Ashe ult does not find anybody, and Super Bear and Jakimbo are going to be able to get out. That kill going to Super Bear, helping to navigate that slight gold disadvantage. And Valpo was able to bring up the gold lead to the gold deficit from them to just under 900.
Yeah, I mean, very well played from Valpo right there. Just kind of understanding that, hey, you know, we need Jarvan to come up here, and this is a potential kill angle. I think it was really well played. Jarvan, obviously one of the stronger champs when it comes to early game. Somehow even stronger than Skarner, who I mean is already a really strong champ early game from dueling. I think is really truthfully, like, it was a really good opportunity to look for a kind of disengage there from Jarvan.
Not gonna lie, I was slightly worried for about 2 seconds. I was like, "Ooh, this could be really bad if Skarner's able to flash engage onto the Syndra because she was already so low from that gank."
Yeah.
But Valpo knowing the limits of where their champions lie, and with that being said, we are going to be seeing a lot of pings come out as laners look like to prepare for this next objective on the board, which
actually looks like Skarner's looking for another gank topside for the Cassante. He does get the E, gets tons of damage out. He has R here too. It's so much damage. Aatrox is not able to move and get his healing. I mean, that's just it.
Definitely good play from Manchester there. Dreadful fighting valiantly, burning flash and ultimate. However, something to point out is that if Valpo does look to possibly continue this fight into Void Grubs, is that there are no ultimates from the top and the jungler. But it does look like Valpo will back off of Void Grubs here for the most part, as Diadem is still focusing on mid-wave farm instead of trying to make something else happen in the Grubs camp.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think if you, when you kind of like have your Aatrox dead with no ult, I think you kind of have to just give up those Grubs, like realize, okay, there's no longer a play we can make here. We don't have our really big fighter out, and even if he was out, he doesn't really have his big, you know, one of his most important tools being his ultimate, especially when you have on the other side of the team, you know, it TPs, you have Galio ult, you have Galio lockdown. I mean, it's really hard to play from that, so I really like the opportunity from Valpo just kind of like acknowledge that, hey, there's no play to be made here. Let's just give it and like just keep trying to farm gold on the other side of the map.
And also to Manchester's play, Manchester knowing exactly, I would say, like where their limits of how much they can do is. They're not looking to try to take another. They're not trying to look for a collapse at mid. They're just looking to take the objective, take the small advantage that they won, and be able to do something that may not be as big of a payoff, because again, if you're able to get a kill and the Grubs, obviously even better. But you'd rather take a play that is like safe than take a play that's risky and then possibly give the other team an opportunity to get back in. Obviously, I would want that, but
right.
if you're Manchester, you don't want that.
Now, speaking of, it looks like Valpo is starting the Dragon right now, and obviously they have a fairly quick Dragon take with Ashe, with Syndra, with Jarvan. But it looks like Manchester's actually looking down to kind of contest him right here. Skarner just kind of clearing vision. Jarvan's on the Dragon, and they're just kind of poking them out. Like, it looks like nothing is actually going to happen of it. Who actually looks like they stopped his back.
They were looking to potentially get on Super Bear, but the Jarvan the Forest ability to just move to this flag is just so strong, especially over walls. With that being said, though, that is the two Dragons going to Valparaiso University. Again, trading the gold lead at just around 1,400, but also we now have Infernal Soul.
Right. Now, I do think Infernal Soul does help the team that is usually a bit tankier as well. When you have Infernal Soul, it does a lot of burst damage, which really helps assassin-based comps. And teams that usually are a bit more squishy, they don't like to see Infernal Soul because, you know, there's less outplayability, right? You can't really live as well. So I think ideally, if anyone should get the Infernal Soul, at least like to better help them, it would be Manchester here.
Yes, which definitely makes it scarier that Valpo is up 2 Dragons. It is going to be a 2v2 in the jungles, but other than just some choice words being spoken, no direct conflict is being but we are going to see that Manchester is going to be preparing for that Rift Herald that will be spawning in 6 seconds.
Now, I think it's really important here to know that Galio, does have TP and also has ult. So there's really big potential to see from Galio entering into this fight if they're not too careful. Obviously, when you have the other side with TPs, it's really important that if you have TP, then you're not really fighting a 3v3 because TPs exist all of a sudden, and now it's a 4v4 and we're down people, right? So like, I think it's really important that, like, if they want to contest this, which it does not look like they are, I mean, it's already gone. They can't do anything here.
Oh, but Valpo's going to be looking for an engage here. The law going in with the grand entrance.
Here's a big TP coming in from Galio, it looks like, too. Cassante is getting into the fight. Skarner on the back line. Big taunt from the Galio. CC stun on the Law. Everyone's going so low on HP. Risk Asunayuki getting a kill on Aatrox. Jarvan getting an ult on Galio. Galio has to ult out, and right here, I mean, Cassante is just inside of them, just killing them.
Absolutely. Valpo trying to look for a final play there, but not being able to find anything as Manchester is able to turn and do exactly what we talked about earlier in team fights. That is where Manchester is the strongest and able to utilize that lead to their advantage. We're going to see Skarner starting to pilot the Rift Herald. DNM looking to try to back, but also not being able to. It does look like that Manchester, with that being said, is going to be able to take Tier 1 and Tier 2 turret.
And that is a huge gold injection going to Manchester just from that one fight. Not only did they get 2 towers, but they got, what was it, 4 kills there too, plus Rift Herald, which helped them get, I mean, you get like, what, 300 gold from killing Rift Herald alone too?
I think so.
Like, I mean, that was just 5,000, yeah, almost 6,000 gold just given to Manchester just from that one fight. And not to mention the value gotten from Heartsteel, from Skarner's Heartsteel. I mean, that was a very big fight for Manchester to win there, and I mean, they won it.
They did. Definitely a good play by Manchester. And Valpo's at now, looking at what's up next, Dragon is up in 1:45. I would say Manchester probably has the Manchester, if they are able to get there and start setting up vision, which it looks like they already are. That is going to be a lot harder for Valpo to be able to get. However, I was going to say that even with that being said, taking a look at CS real fast, real quick. We see that the top lane is, we see that the Aatrox over the Cassante is up just about 10 CS, which for the gold.
Ooh, actually huge engage on the Syndra, not going to kill the.
Oh, but the Law's going to try to go in.
The Law's going to try to get in, try to get something. There's going to be an ult from Milio too to get the extra healing. Skarner is coming in just to kind of help out, make sure, hey, no one's dying here.
Ashall not being able to find anyone. And actually something to point out is Milio used ult at the same time, I think, as Corki used cleanse. So that was I think it was a 2-for-1. Corki cleansed first, and then in order to cleanse the same CC, I think Milio ulted just slightly, being a little bit extra value for Valpo there. I don't know if Valpo was able to catch that though.
Looks like we are going to see a little bit of a brawl on the top side. Now, we do know that Cassante does very well into Aatrox, but Aatrox has, like, with the heal cut and everything, it's really hard for him to kind of play into this Cassante right now.
That it is. In continuing to just look at where the next potential team fight is. I wasn't expecting that fight to happen. Definitely, if you're a Valpo fan tuning in, definitely unfortunate. So that engage was not able to be fully gotten by Jakimbo getting that full pick off on that Corki. But we are going to see though that pings are going to go out, as it does look like Manchester is going to be declaring the want for that Infernal Dragon, and it does look like that Valpo is not wanting to respond to that, rather trying to look for a different play elsewhere.
Yeah, and it looks like they're not going to quite find that play. And now that Cassante knows that Jarvan is topside, he's just going to sit underneath. Looks like he's just going to sit underneath his turret and just do nothing with his time. Which I think is overall a really important thing to do in this scenario, because obviously with Cassante you have a lot of outplay ability with your kit. Looks like actually they're trying to dive Cassante, so it looks like he's actually backing all the way away from Tier 1 and just, you know what, you can have it. I don't care anymore. That's yours. You got it.
Yeah. That's Valpo's tier 1 red turret, which again does open up the map a little bit. We are going to see that it's going to make it just about even though. But with that being said, Manchester is going to be trying to respond.
They're actually TPing into the tier 2 bot side, and we get a TP coming in from Aatrox. Aatrox going to ult immediately. Looks like he's still trying to push forward, try to get something. Not much is coming out of it though.
No, we could see potential Ash ult come in if the fight does look like it might be continuing. But with that being said, with DNM continuing to clear the top lane, it does look like that another main component was found. Both sides still playing this relatively well. Oh, we are going to see the Ash ult does.
Skarner is just, you cannot touch my little kid. Please don't.
Yes, please do. Please no stun. And even though Ash ult was able to find something, not necessarily doing a lot, Also, something just for a personal point, Ash just fired that ult, and I'm already seeing it at like just around the 25%. Like it's already 25%.
Yeah, no, how fast is the cooldown? I mean, it's obnoxiously fast. It's faster than most mage ults, which is like those are like the ults that come off quick. So. Yeah, 92.
Doesn't feel, maybe I guess in the booth, it just feels a lot shorter. It feels like whenever I'm playing a game, it feels like I see an Ash ult every like 3 seconds, but 92 seconds actually isn't like...
For an ADC ult, that's good, I think. Because like,
go ahead.
She's level 10. That's stage 1 ult still. So once she's level 11, she's going to get stage 2 ult, and that's probably when it goes down to like a minute, right?
Probably around like 75 seconds. We will have to double check here. But with this being said, we are going to see though that Baron Nashor is up. It is 20 minutes, and so teams are going to have to decide what they want to do here. If they're going to fight, they're going to push out lane, or whatever both teams think is important. We are seeing though that Super Bear is going to be having to disengage slightly. It does look like Skarner was unable to grab those Heartsteel stacks. But again, Super Bear just not being able to fully be in his jungle this game.
Right. And I think it's really, really obnoxious to have that situation happen to you, too. As a jungler, I understand. I understand Super Bear's plight right now is that not having control of your jungle is really obnoxious, especially when you have Galio, who's a really strong split pusher, when you have Cassante, who's a really strong split pusher. Plus, both of them have TP, so even if like, oh, there's someone bot side, they're not really bot side, they're also top side, they're everywhere. So like really, like it's really hard to kind of like outplay that and like get control of your jungle, especially when you already have Skarner, who's going to A, outscale you with Heartsteel, and B, still does more damage than you. Oh, Pokey actually looking to engage on the Jarvan.
Super Bear just looking to walk away here. Oh, actually not looking to walk away, looking to dash in.
But I mean, he used all his dashes here. Syndra has to like kind of, oh, this triple ult coming in. Risk Asuna Yuki getting tons of damage down. Cassante getting a kill. Skarner getting a kill. That's also a kill on Ashe. This game, I think it's actually over.
if Dreadful has to play this wave extremely well if he doesn't want to see this, if he doesn't want to see
here's the Galio taunt, and there's so much damage coming out. There's the Skarner stun, and that's dead. I think, do they end off of this? I don't think so, right?
We see the LoL will be up in 7 seconds.
I think they can end, actually.
The LoL will be up in 7 seconds. Has the potential to probably at least stall long enough. We are seeing though that all the grubs are coming in. Law's coming in. Law does not have ultimate, just has Ignite. Going to have to try to find someone. Has to play safe in order to buy time. Super Bear is also now back here too. D and them spawning in. They are hitting the Nexus though.
I don't think they have enough time. I think
they don't have enough time. But we're going to see a final attempt from Valpo. But with that being said, Valpo will fall to Manchester University at around a 9.5K goal deficit, which leaves Manchester 1-0 in this best of 3.
Yeah, without doubt. Obviously, like really well played from both teams. There we saw like really strong early game. I felt like coming in from Manchester, just using that really strong early pressure from Skarner, using the strong lane that is Corki, Milio, playing very safe until they can hit that mid game where, oh, now all of a sudden Corki's just doing our entire health bars. We just saw, like, I think really good plays coming out, mainly from jungle from Manchester. Just I'm playing Skarner. My goal is to like get as many kills as possible, get my Heartsteel, then I can start looking to scale. And I mean, we just kind of saw that really well from Manchester. And I just feel like it was really hard for Valpo to kind of keep up with those plays.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think like by the time of like 5 minutes or so, we already saw that Skarner had attempted to do ganks at least 3 separate times. And I know we commented that the Super Bear was the first one to actually do the gank in mid lane, and then from there, just the needing the farm just allowed Skarner just has the ability to go through walls and just is able to get to lanes even faster than Jarvan the Fourth is, and so we just kind of saw that was the kind of potential snowball was really on the back of Manchester's Skarner. There was really the big threat. I was gonna say I wasn't. Galio didn't feel, I was worried about that Galio into Syndra, but Syndra was able to handle that fight really well, being able just to poke and just do a lot of damage over time, and Galio was just allowing those stacks to happen, and just being able to get a few picks off here and there, but definitely Manchester's jungle and I think Valpo's mid lane being the 2 biggest lanes that we saw in this first game.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, I don't know, are we looking to go to a break? Yeah, so it looks like we will be looking to go to a break here soon, right until they start the next set of bands. So we'll see you guys then when they start doing the next bands. Hello and welcome back to GLEC finals or GLEC playoffs. Excuse me. We are back with the Manchester versus Valparaiso game, the seed 5 versus seed 4. As always, I'm Matthew, also known as Grimbo.
And then as a co-caster, my name is Monsieur, with real name Adam.
Yep, and we are going to be heading into the bands here soon. I don't know what we
We don't know what we're going to be seeing. We'll be seeing the pick and bans relatively soon.
Yep.
But with that being said, I know that obviously both teams had an opportunity to kind of a little bit more of a mental reset probably on Valpo's end, and then a little bit more of hopefully a cooling off period from Manchester's. And as we know that we've seen in CLOL, or we've seen in GLEC, we've seen in multiple leagues before that win streaks and lose streaks can usually trend pretty decently, but also sometimes you have ego and sometimes you have a passion for vengeance. So being able to see how both those teams took a few seconds to be able to I don't want to say rest because they didn't get a rest time, but just an opportunity to reevaluate and figure out what priorities they need to focus on for the second game are going to be very interesting here.
Yeah, and I can say as a competitor, you know, like when you get into these are like your make or break situations, right? Like these are the situations where like if you are in a good spot, you want to you have to lock in. You have to realize I want this. I have to try as hard as I can. And if you're in a if you're not in the best spot. Or if you're at a good spot, it's realizing how to level yourself, realize it's not over yet. It's not over till it's over. And like this is the crux of competition right here. So we will be seeing that as we go into the draft, which it looks like Valpo will actually be turning up with the Talia, Skarner, and Ezreal bans.
I was going to say, definitely that Skarner ban has to be in response to your guys' Skarner.
Yeah.
Definitely was able to put on a little bit of a show. Manchester was able to put on a show with that Skarner on Valpo's dime. But with that being said, other than that, the rest of the bans seem relatively the same. I think the only thing is the Talia ban, I think, might have swapped over from Manchester to Valpo.
Our jungler does also main Talia, and he's kind of nasty on her. I'm not going to lie. He's kind of a nasty Talia.
Getting rid of that also possible Talia flex of a Talia jungle mid. I have not had the opportunity to take a full look at both players' match histories. I know that's obviously why you're here with me to be able to tell me who's playing who. But we are going to see the Sivir on Valpo's end in response to Corki. Definitely good. Helps outrage, and that spell shield can make or break, specifically like big engages.
Not to mention, Sivir is definitely a really heavy hyperscaler, so she's going to be very useful going into the late game as well if it goes that late.
And I was going to say, with that being said, Valpo looking probably to play a later game, especially with the Wukong here. Again, one of Super Bear's good picks here. Relatively newer this season, but definitely has shown that it has a lot of potential. But we are going to see that Manchester is going to continue on with the Galio. Which, yes. Galio definitely a strong choice. It is going to either opt for the potential of the mid laner not choosing AP, or forcing to choose AP, even though Galio will just be able to tank a lot of that damage. We also do see the Udyr. That Udyr going to be also another big threat to Valpo, specifically with all the abilities, all the shielding, the healing, the CC. Anything that you need there can just kind of happen.
Yeah, not to mention that Udyr is also kind of a different playstyle of champ when it comes to Skarner. Obviously, Skarner is a bit more of a, I'm going to rush in and I'm going to get a lead early. Udyr's fine playing back because he has this really strong hyper scaling kind of build where he can just kind of sit back, throw hurricanes, throw big strong burn damage, and then, as you said, get big shields and start getting tons of shields as we get into the mid to late game. So obviously Manchester actually has a really strong scaling team right now with Corki, Galio, Udyr. Valpo also having a fairly strong scaling team as well with Swain, Wukong, Sivir. So we could see a potentially pretty late game here,
which I think would be very interesting for both sides. I know personally, long games are always fun. It always sucks though because as soon as you get past 35 minutes, any team fight is the potential for a game ender.
Right.
Like we saw at Manchester that Manchester was able to have that team fight, and the only reason why they were able to win and end is because if you look where that team fight started, it started in Valpo's jungle, specifically in that partial jungle pathing as soon as you would leave base to go from the blue side of Valpo up. So seeing that how close that team fight happened to Valpo's base, if that had happened almost anywhere else on the map, if that had happened in Baron, if that had happened even in Dragon Pit, Manchester would not have been able to end there. But with that being said, we're going to see Manchester is going to ban the Camille and Nautilus once again locking down the two picks and unfortunately getting rid of that Nautilus top that has somehow seemed like a lot of play. And don't know how that happens.
Right. Now, yeah, we do ban the Knot and the Camille, but on the Valpo side, we are seeing the Lulu and Milio ban. Now, I do know that our support is, he is an Enchanter main. He does enjoy his Enchanters, so he is going to be locking in the Janna, and we are locking Cassante as well as our last pick. So that gives Valpo the counter pick potentially for top lane, assuming it's not Swain top.
Assuming it's not Swain top, it could be. You know what? Maybe Valpo will just show us a crazy, and it can be like Sivir mid, Swain ADZ. Who knows?
Or maybe like a Swain support Taric top.
Yes,
that'd be crazy.
Yes.
Taric jungle? Wait, can we see a Taric jungle game?
Taric jungle infinite healing.
Light Rocket, are you here?
I would personally love to see it. I don't think that Super Bear has quite picked up that pick yet.
Okay, no, it's Darius.
But Darius and the Cassante, again, just good. Another, I would say, a better, this time definitely a winning matchup, I think, in Valpo's side, the Darius versus Cassante. And again, continuing that late game scaling. Again, as soon as, if Darius is able to start getting like a reset or two, just that ultimate execution damage with that 5-stack bleed doing so much damage. And even Cassante with all of his armor just can't do much to be able to respond to that.
Now, I do think it is kind of fascinating that you are talking about like this resets on Darius and stuff, because when I look at Valpo's team, I see, wow, this team, I would not want a team fight. Especially going into, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes into the game, we have Sivir who's just going to be like chucking her, I don't know, what Beyblades?
Her boomerang.
Her boomerang, sure. No, it's like, I know there's a word for it. What's the weapon? What's it called?
Oh, it's
chakram. They're chakrams. That's what they are.
Thank you.
She just throws her chakrams around. Like obviously Sivir throwing her chakrams around, getting tons of damage down. Wukong spinning in their face, getting all of them knocked up. Swain coming in with the ult. Taric like invulnerability everyone. Darius getting reset after reset. I don't want to team fight this team.
No.
If I'm like, I don't like what do I do here? Like, try to kill the Darius? Oh, great. Now Sivir kills everyone. Oh, kill Sivir? Oh, great. Now Swain's killing everyone, you know?
Yeah, this is definitely on both sides, I think, have swapped. Again, which kind of does, unfortunately, shut down for Manchester's and kind of shuts down that Galio a little bit, because it's not, Galio is so helpful in those team fights. So you're able to give a magic spell shield to somebody, and then you're able to go in. The problem is if Galio goes in, there's the only magic damage that he's able to fully trade off is Swain, and even then, Swain has that ability to poke and just general annoyance. So interesting pick. Definitely Udyr. I think with the Udyr and the Janna, going to be looking to get that movement speed boost to try to be able to get a potential like overextension from Valpo. And I'm hoping, at least on my end, that Valpo has learned their lesson of making sure to have vision and make sure to know where everyone is before they're choosing to move past that like midpoint in a lane. Just because with the jungle, with the start of season 14 having wider paths for all three lanes, it just allows that if jungler sees someone over halfway in a lane, that they're just able to like walk on the other side and kind of force them to be pincered about 35% closer to the tower. So they have to take a lot of damage or probably die, especially if they have a good CC ability like Udyr or Janna.
Now, it is funny you mention like good CC ability for Manchester, because when I look at Manchester, I see this as a poke comp, because I see obviously Corki just like spamming QR, like just shooting his little gun as best he can do. Obviously, we see Galio Q with Galio obviously having taunts, being able to disengage, being able to kind of if you get onto us, I will make sure that, we'll be fine. If anything else, I will die, and that's all we need. Udyr obviously having Ram Stance, being able to R, but he has Ram Stance being able to CC, but he does have his Phoenix Blizzard, which is really good poke for no reason. Janna R, just one of the best disengage tools in the game, plus healing, plus her tornadoes, which, I mean, if we catch someone out with a tornado, that's tornado plus stun plus taunt plus knockup plus slow, like everything. And then obviously Cassante kind of being a secondary disengage. We have a lot of disengage, a lot of poke for Manchester side. I think if they play really well, I feel like it's going to be really hard for Valpo to really get in on them without at least having like a Darius Ghost or something, right?
Yeah, Valpo is going to have to commit some resources to get them into a full team fight. But once that full team fight happens, then we're going to see a lot of action being held here. So if you are a Manchester fan, you do not want to see Ocean Soul. on anyone's side.
No.
Ocean Soul, like the existence of Ocean Soul by itself negates poke comps to such a hard degree. Manchester would have to be up around like 6,000-7,000 gold for that poke comp to still be worth it. And even then, if Valpo just continues to play it safe, Valpo is currently the only with the Swain has the only person that is a true infinite scaler. So the longer the game goes, the longer that Swain goes and just gets damage. And once that Swain starts getting a few dozen stacks with his W and with his E, you just can't kill him. And because of the rework, Swain quite honestly is overtuned right now.
Is he really that overtuned?
I think. Well, I know that the reset or the changes, people definitely didn't like. People were like needs buff, character not good. Especially, it's just because people aren't used to the missile speed. Right. That's genuinely a big thing. The E, you were used to like, be able to move a lot more, and it actually was, I think, more skill expression. If you're able to like throw it and either like flash or just like either like move somewhere else, and you could just, it would slowly come back, and so you could drag somebody. Now it's just a quick toss and throw. But overall, I'm definitely excited to see both of these lanes. Valpo, this is going to be the potential game point for Manchester, allowing Manchester to go to the semifinals if they win, and Valpo forcing a full best of 3 if they are able to win this game.
Of course, and I mean, overall, I'm really excited to see how this will go. I mean, truthfully, like as I mentioned earlier, this is make or break. If you want it bad, you will do everything in your power to like do it here. And I know that they played also relatively recently. If I remember correctly, Valpo actually came over to Manchester not too long ago to actually play offline. So this is not the only time we've played these guys offline. There's probably a little bit of animosity. Maybe not animosity, but
friendly banter.
Like friendly competition to try to win here.
I like that, friendly competition. You know what? I'm gonna steal that line from you. Friendly competition. All right, but with that being said, we are going to, looks like it is going to be a full 5-man stack. Once again, neither team looking for anything too crazy here. While Tarek is great, just definitely not a full engage. And Jana does require Jana requires a lot of setup for that engage, especially if she chooses Tornado level 1. She is going to be in the bush here, giving me a decent reminder about Worlds. And I'm hoping that for Manchester's sake, it's not a full Worlds example.
Ooh, actually, looking for the Tornado here. Doesn't quite hit it.
It does hit the root. Just being able to poke out Jana, and Swain now gets to say +12 as he gets one of his demonic stacks.
Looks like maybe potentially, yeah. Good thing Kazante stayed standing right there. Looks like they're actually trying to bring Darius down to kind of meet the Udyr and like get a big chunk out of him. Obviously, Udyr is not known for a very healthy starting clear. He has for the first 3 camps, he is very low health as he finishes them up. So getting him chunked out would have been kind of detrimental to him.
With that, and 100% agree. And Udyr is actually going to continue to maneuver and take. And move down towards his Raptors and start at Raptors level 1, which relatively interesting. You don't see as many people starting Raptors unless like you're Kane, but again, if you're starting that
or Rammus
or Rammus, but if you're starting that Phoenix form, which I would assume is what you'd be doing, you're just doing a lot. Dreadful hitting that Q sweet spot onto Poke, just continuing to do some damage. And I do think that with Jana being forced to back, or choosing to back, I should say, not forced. That is going to give Valpo the level 2 lead. We are going to see, though, that Jakimbo is going to take another demonic stack. Tornado not being able to find anyone on Jana right now. But again, relatively calm right now. And it does, Diadem and the Law will hit level 2 first and are just going to be looking to kind of just do some extra damage. Jana's shield coming out at basically the perfect time to be able to prevent a lot of that damage from sticking, but Diadem does hit 1/2 of the boomerang damage.
Now it is funny. Now as we go into the jungle pathing, it looks like both junglers are matching clears, going from bot to top, looking to make potential plays on the top side. I do think Udyr's clear at this point is actually faster than Wukong. So if there's a play to be made, Udyr or Wukong will have to kind of finish up his clear faster. And I mean, obviously, Udyr with a level up, that's still like a 600 gold worth of stats just in Udyr's kit that he is going to have going into the gank. So you'll have to be a little careful of that if you want to match it.
Ooh, and that does, and seeing the full combo happen from Jakimbo there, just hurts my soul to see, as I've seen it done happen to me so many times. But we are going to see, though, that there is a potential. Dreadful is going to go to do a lot of damage here on Cassante, and is just going to probably look to clear that wave. I think learning his lesson, not going to continue to try to be more aggressive, especially since Udyr is nowhere to be seen on the map currently. Just continue to play it safe.
That does look like Udyr is actually looking for a gank mid here. Swain does not have any vision here. He is going to find the vision. He is going to flash out, though. And I'd be very worried about Udyr looking for this grubs, this Scuttle Crab top, because obviously Swain does have prio, Darius has prio, Wukong is not really known to be weak early either. So I'd be a little worried getting this, but it does look like he actually gets it.
Yeah, but we're gonna see Dreadful pop the ward. Again, just as a safety precaution, Dreadful also up a slight bit of CS. And right now, as if lanes are as stable as we're kind of seeing them right now, it is the early game, so you really don't see too many crazy things happening. But if lanes are continuing to be stable, again, I think we pointed out that both teams have really good scaling, but I do think that Valpo edges it out slightly, especially with Swain's infinite scaling. Yeah,
Swain's infinite scaling plus the hyper carry aspect of Sivir being able to, especially her damage being more AoE team-based damage, not necessarily individual damage. It's really important for late game team fights when you're just able to like DPS five people all at once, right?
Mm-hmm. And as I say, we're gonna see some more pings come out from the map. We're gonna see that I think Jakimbo did use his W to try to determine where Udyr is, and the fact that Udyr's Raptors are gone again might show, I think, is communicating that that they know where Udyr is, and Diadem and the Law being able to play back as they know that Udyr is in the bot side. We do see that the first dragon is up in 3 seconds, which is Ocean Drag. So as we were saying earlier, it is not going to be an Ocean Soul. For those of you who don't know, the first 2 dragons that spawn are the 2 souls that are not possible to occur. So we'll see Ocean, then when after this next one is killed, it could be any dragon that's not those 3.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I mean, with what we mentioned earlier, with Udyr being having a bit faster of a clear going into this first few clears, you know, he's already done with his second full clear. If he hits the first grub, he will get level 6 and have 6 advantage on Wukong. So Wukong has to be very fast in clearing his camps and then getting to grubs to get that first grub. Because that first grub, I mean, it means so much.
And it does look like that Udyr is going to be looking, I think, just to try to take Super Bear's grubs, but the Law is there and able to help out. I think Udyr was able to grab like one of the Raptors, but Janna's on her way, still not fully there. And it does look like there will be a full breakout in potential for this, for these Void grubs.
Now, I would be a little worried. I do think in the team fight, Manchester is kind of strong. Obviously, if Darius gets a reset, it will be over for the team fight immediately. But like whoever gets these first grubs, it's really important that they get it. Wukong will not get 6 from him, but Udyr would, and it looks like he's actually just giving them, and they're just getting dragged instead.
Which again, good choice on Manchester's part. Again, Manchester does not have any need right now to play super aggressive or to try to make a desperate play, so you might, if someone's making a play on one side of the map, for those of you in the audience who are like, if you're trying to figure out League or trying to understand something, one of the best things to do is when a play is happening on one side of the map and you are not 100% certain that you can negate that, you can go up there and challenge it, the best thing to do is try to look for another part of the map that you can make a play on. And in this case, Manchester realized that even though they were at Void Grubs first, there was no reason to force a potential Void Grubs fight, as they were more worried that they weren't going to be able to win that fight. And so they were able to take first dragon. All is well in the world. We're going to see a Hex Tech Dragon come out, which is going to be very interesting, as that extra attack speed and ability haste is going to be very helpful for basically every single member of that team. So I think this is going to be a pretty highly contested dragon. We are going to see that Cassante is going to be taking a lot of damage here from Dreadful, trying to do a lot. And
oh my god, first blood. I'm actually surprised that ult killed. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie either. It looked like it was like right on the edge. And with that being said, Udyr is clearing Wukong's camps right now, so Dreadful is able to just get some, is going to be able to crash this wave, get some plating, crash this next wave, it looks like, and is probably going to be looking at least 2 platings here And with that wave being crashed, it's going to be so much extra gold going into Valpo's pocket. As you can see in the top corner, Valpo is up around 1,300 gold now. That was really mainly just from that first blood and those 2 turret play-ins.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention not only that, but like if we look like at the experience difference as well, just having that small experience, like I say small, but it's kind of massive when you have that entire wave crash. Who actually looks like they're diving mid, trying to get something on the Swain here. Not going to quite find it. He actually misses the stun there, but I mean,
is going to force the back. Jakimbo was able to land the W again, trying to get a little something out of the trade here. And Super realizing that he doesn't win that early fight 1v1 against Udyr, and so instead of trying to fight, he is just going to let Udyr grab those 4 Raptorling, or I guess mini Raptors. Is there an official term?
Raptors. I think it's just the general.
Okay. But able just to grab those and then be very successful. We are seeing though that Dreadful is going to be moving towards the mid lane, looking to crash that to prevent something from happening. We do see that the Tornado does hit 2 members of Valpo, but with Corki having no mana, they are just going to back and reset, which again, good option. And with Diadem and the Law being low, I would have been kind of interested to see how that fight would have turned out, because Corki did have the level advantage. And Janna did have ultimate, so I'm kind of surprised.
Well, I think the really big thing there is that Sivir didn't have like almost any mana either. So truthfully, I think if a fight were broke out, it probably would have been Corki favor. But I mean, who's to say that Wukong wasn't bot side? And well, I mean, if you start a fight there and you don't have that much mana as Corki, like what do you do? Like he just walks in and one shots you, right?
Yeah. So that would have had to have been a desperate play on both ends. We are going to see that Jakimbo not going to be able to find either of those 2 stacks there, but is surprisingly doing a lot of damage to the Galio. And Galio's whole point is that we are going to see the Jakimbo flash there. Kind of interesting to see that flash come out from him.
Looks like Wukong is actually looking to take his Raptors. However, it's really important to note that
Udyr's got to be careful.
Udyr's clear is so fast that he is able to get him right there. And there's a big stun on the Swain. Swain has to ult right here. Is he going to be able to do enough damage? Here comes the Galio ult, getting 2 knockups. Tarek gets his ult off.
On 3 people.
Big invulnerability.
Janna
Huge disengage from Janna. She has to heal in order to move speed out. And nothing really is going to happen from it.
So just, again, taking a quick look, we do see that 3 ults came out. It was basically 3 to 3. We do see though that the Law burned Ignite, so Law burned Ignite, Jakimbo burned Flash before that fight. Galio burned Ultimate, Janna burned Ultimate and Heal, and so did Udyr burn Flash. So genuinely just like a pretty even trade in terms of things that happened there. So slightly positive in, I think, slightly positive in Manchester's favor, purely because of the Jakimbo flash earlier, which I kind of don't fully understand what that flash was for, but that's why he's Masters and I'm currently Hardstuck Gold. So there was a tech for it, I just don't know it. We are seeing though that the Law is going to get found by the Udyr, taking a lot of damage here.
Kasante is going to ult the Swain. He's going to take a lot of damage, but they actually get a pick on Tarek. This is still very playable. Huge damage coming in. Huge taunt from the Galio. Corki is going to be able to get a kill. There's a huge taunt from the Udyr. He gets a flash from the Darius, but I mean, he's burning alive from this Udyr, and so much damage coming out. That's a tornado!
Janna getting that shutdown again.
And a taunt from Galio too, ending up another kill for Corki in that situation.
Really good fight from both sides there. Valpo deciding to overextend and not taking that opportunity to just take it back, to use the extra gold advantage, and Manchester was able to come back. While they had the gold disadvantage, they were at full health. And that was huge to see there. That was huge to see. Specifically, do want to point out the fact, though, that Janna was the one to take that shutdown gold on Jakimbo, which, if you know anything about League of Legends, you want your carries to be getting the gold. Janna, obviously, getting the gold is not bad. You would rather secure the kill than not.
I mean, anyone getting a kill is not necessarily a bad thing. But, yeah, as you say, if you had a choice, you wouldn't want it on the Janna. You'd want it on a carry.
Yeah, because it did look like, I think, that there was the reason why I point that out is it does look like there was potential there for that to go, for that to head to one of the carries. Instead, I thought it looked like Udyr's burn was going to be doing a lot of damage there. It does look like we're going to be having a second team fight here. A TP coming in from Galio.
Huge Wukong ult, huge Swain ult, tons of damage coming out.
Janna counter and
picking them out.
They're focusing on the clone.
Here comes the Dragon. Dragon stolen by Udyr. Udyr gets a kill. Gallo gets a kill on the Wukong, Kazante gets a kill on the Swain, and all this damage is coming out. They're not able to get anyone right now from Manchester side. Is Darius able to get even one single ult? Could do it. Udyr gets a kill. Corki gets a kill. He heals a little bit. Janna tries a tornado, but nothing else is going to come of it. Actually, it looks like Corki might look for something. He gets hooked. That's an ult right there, and that is going to be Kazante getting the kill at the end.
So not fully an ace because Super was able to be back up, but it was a 5 kill for 1. Dreadful stayed,
plus Dragon.
Plus Dragon. Dreadful being able to again. I think we would if we saw a full ultimate come in a tiny bit earlier and able to.
Ooh, actually, it looks like they're TPing bot to make sure they don't get this full tower here.
They don't get more played in here. Valpo does just have.
Actually, it looks like they're trying to engage on the Janna here.
We are
on the Janna here. Wukong engaging on the Galio. Tons of. Oh my God, that champ is insane.
That sounds. That
Actually,
sounds like
Udyr coming around. Looks like trying to get a kill on the Wukong. And now, oh my God, what happened to him? It was just a boy.
Wasn't able to fully move there, and just being able to get fully caught out. With that being said, though, we are gonna see that the Valpo is gonna try their best to find at least something out of this, and is gonna try to find some turret plating here. Definitely being harder to do as they now are on the disadvantage on both gold and with all that team fighting, lack of CS across the board. It's
right.
14 minutes, and the most is the Udyr with 112. But at this point, most laners that do CS shows are looking for 100 CS at 10 minutes. And so we're at 14 minutes, and so many team fights have been breaking out that not a lot of stuff's been able to happen for these. Like most of the laners don't even have their first full item yet.
Right. I mean, you do point that out, but I mean, we do have Leandres from Udyr, obviously from the 3 kills. We have Triforce on the Darius, but I mean, outside of that, plus Essence Reaver, you know, the only other person that has an item is the support, who's expected to have a really early item. So truthfully, like. I do have to agree. I think they're playing a little slow when it comes to getting these items, but they are getting a lot of value from these objectives. Obviously, Valpo has grub buff with 4 grubs. Manchester has 2 drags, which is really important, especially if you want to stack those drakes. There's a lot of plays to be made just kind of from stacking those drakes, and it looks like it's going to be Fire Drake again. So obviously, Manchester here is going to like having that extra damage to burst down this Swain, burst down this Sivir, burst down this Wukong.
I was say 100% agree. Those extra, also those cinders being so important in helping to traverse the map easier, allowing both either the Law or the Janna to be able to get around the map faster and be able to look for more play potential. Udyr and Wukong both also wanting to use that speed buff in order to look for something.
It looks like Udyr's actually looking for something mid here.
Udyr's looking for something, but Diadem and the Law realize that they're a little overextended and that they're not going to. That there's no reason to push up anymore because they are not going to be able to fight. They're not going to be able to kill. They're not going to be able to drop Corki real fast, so they are just going to back off.
Now, I will say, as you know, you do mention the CS difference from laner's perspective. From a jungler's perspective, obviously, how much CS you want really kind of depends on what jungler you're playing. And when you're a hard like farming jungler like Udyr, it's kind of expected that when you're at this point, being at 16 minutes with 100 CS is good. So having 130 almost at 16 is kind of nuts to have at this point, especially with 3 kills on top of that. It means you're affecting the map, plus you're getting really strong. And Udyr, who is known to be a really strong scaler, has a lot of ability, like a lot of different builds you can do depending on what you want. There's a lot to be said from a very significant jungle difference right now.
With that jungle difference being said, we're seeing that Udyr is going to go in and try to just start maintaining their vision lead in Valpo's jungle, just being able to negate a lot of their control wards as Dragon is up in 50 seconds. But something to point out though that I just find interesting is even with all these kills and all this action, Manchester is up just over 3,000 gold, which for a 7 kill bonus or for 7 kill difference feels kind of low to me.
It is a little low, but that is 3K gold at 17 minutes, which is kind of in its own right a little different. Actually, we're looking like team fights happening right here. Manchester's kind of poking out the Law. Law getting really low HP. Wukong getting a little bit of burst damage down. And yeah, I mean, okay, it's just poke, never mind. Nothing really big happened.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of things, but nothing happened on either side that was of really any note. No summoner spells used, but it just could, again, the problem is these could turn into full team fights at any second. One person could choose to engage. The Law is low. Kimbo does get found with
the Janna tornado.
The Janna tornado and getting
look at so much damage at Udyr. Yeah, this champ's balanced, I think.
Yeah, fair and balanced champion says no one to every single champion. I think I can tell you times where I feel like each one of these 10 champions is absolutely busted and needs to be nerfed. But Riot, I guess, knows better than I do, because otherwise they'd have each champion do like 1 damage.
I mean, I think that's really like an important thing, is that when you're at this level of play, you know, you have to use every advantage that's available to you. And missed that smite, by the way. But like, you have to use every advantage that's available to you. And obviously, when you're at this level of play, you have to make sure, how can I get as much value off of my champs as possible? And actually, wow, Swain just dies here, no? Wow. Okay.
Try to survive.
He's just barely not going to survive, and Erklin actually gets the kill, securing it with the Q. But I mean, as I mentioned, you know, like when you play collegiately and you have an entire team relying on you, you kind of have to play these like really aggressively strong champions, because you know your winning is riding on it, right? So it's just like the optimization of both your gameplay and your champions that is really going to mean so much.
And we are going to see that we didn't say it earlier, but we are going to see that Manchester is going to throw down the Rift Herald. Is going to be looking to try. Is going to look and is going to get a successful third crash. But with that being said, they are just going to back off after this. Again, realizing that they can just get their gold. They can get their gold advantage. They can look to try to influence someone else on the map. While that action was happening, however, I will say I think that Dreadful was able to take that first turret. I saw it flash up on screen earlier if it was just the turret being destroyed. But again, showing that Dreadful's choosing not to help in that fight because he knows he's not going to be helpful, and instead looking for something else he can do to help move the game forward in his team's direction.
Right, without a doubt. And I mean, having that chunk on Valparaiso's bot inhib tower, I think is really important, because when you have Galio, you have one of the best split pushers in the game, and being able to get into team fights from that split push, obviously not as good as Shen, but you know, Shen can't really split push now, can he? But like, you know, when the tower is so low, there's a really big risk that you just get your like you can go show up for a fight and just have your inhib be lost. And especially when you're Manchester and a lot of the gold is on Udyr, those fights can be really tough to play out. Even with like maybe a person disadvantage, you know, when you have so much gold on Udyr, he has Deadman's plus Leandri's. He's just gonna throw his Blizzard out, and you can't do anything about it. You just have to agree that, oh, you got me, you know?
Yeah,
so
you just get to sit there, you get to think about your actions. It's like a Morgana queue, where you're just like, okay, I guess I just don't get to play the game for 3 seconds, and then Morgana then does her full combo, and then you're stuck for 9 seconds, and that's kind of what it feels like to be in an Udyr bubble. Udyr's just like, hi, I'm gonna take damage now. And Corki doing a lot of damage, but not going to be able to do enough to be able to prevent 3 members from Valpo. Looks like that they are going to overload that mid lane and open up that map. It is 2 to 3 turrets, but mid turret is just so. If you can break the first mid turret, that opens the map up so much more to you. Obviously, opening the turrets earlier in the game gives you more, just gives you a faster opening. But we are going to see though that it is going to be full clears, and we're at the 21-minute mark. And currently the highest CS, again, once again to bring it back up, is 177. We are going to see a fight coming out from Jakimbo.
Jakimbo is actually completely caught out here. He actually dies right here. And I mean, this is Baron, no? I think this is just a huge Baron from Manchester angle. Obviously, Swain, one of the best team fighters in the game. If you don't have that, it's really hard to contest Manchester here. Obviously, when they have Udyr has his empowered Sans up. Galio still has everything. Corki still has everything. Janna still has everything. It's really hard to play at this point, I think, if they just want to contest Baron here.
But it does look like Manchester is going to be slightly divided on what they were going to do. We're seeing that Cassante is going to push that wave top side, forcing one member to respond. But it does look like Dreadful is currently on his way to Baron, maybe looking for a Baron steal. We are seeing though that Kimbo is TPing in. That is going to be a quick 5v4 until Cassante is able to join that team fight.
That's going to be a double taunt coming in from the Galio. That is going to be an ult from Tarek. They're both trying to get in the ult. That 4-man ult coming in. Here comes Cassante ult. He's going to get the stun on, I don't even know who that is, Dreadful. Huge Q coming in from Dreadful. So much damage. Quadruple taunt from Galio. And that team fight is just going to go in Manchester's favor completely.
Valpo just not being able to have that damage to finally get rid of anybody, and that Udyr ult doing so much damage in that kind of contained team fight. And something to point out is, I think that Dreadful was about to ult, and Janna was able to negate it with her blowback. And so now Manchester is up 5 more kills and a Baron, which means that we're going to probably look for them to take the Dragon, and then they are just going to probably try to push through top lane or through bot lane. Maybe this could be a final team fight for Manchester if they're able to win it successfully. This could be the end of Valpo's chance at finals.
Right, and I mean, obviously, without a doubt, no matter what happens here, the losing team will still end up playing through losers, so it's not necessarily all over them. They will still be able to play for 5th, 7th, whatever place. But I mean, this is a very significant. This is a very significant difference to be at right now. And I mean, like, Wukong wants to farm, but you can't farm anymore. It's not your jungle anymore, unfortunately, when you're this behind.
No, we are going to see though that the Law is going to get found out with the tornado, not being able to find anything, just doing damage, but Poke not taking anything anymore now that he has his full 2 offensive items, and he has Spectre's Cowl, just being able to give that extra extra MR that's so needed. We are gonna see that 3 members of 2.5 members, Poke being there to assist if needed. That is going to find Valpo's inhibitor, which is going to force them for the next 5 minutes to kind of be point that they are going to have someone that has to respond bot lane in order for them not to get ended by the super minions.
Now, I really want to point out this because this was really prevalent in the first game as well, is that when Manchester does get a lead, and this is really important at any level of league, is that when you get a lead, they make it suffocating to have to play against them because they pressure everywhere all at once, all at the same time. So it becomes really, really hard to play. And I mean, here we see Udyr throwing empowered R's. Here we see, obviously we have a Dragon, so we have Fire Soul, so we just get tons more burst damage down. Like, it's really hard to play against it because, well, we have to stop these guys here, but we also have to stop these guys here. But if we need more people to stop this, they are making sure that no matter what happens, they get more value out of it. And also
Valpo can't walk up, because if they walk up into that, Udyr now is so far ahead that Leandri's damage just does so much work it just does so much work onto Valpo. And so because of that, Manchester knows that they have the Udyr before, where the R is just kind of like a nuisance. It's now an actual threat that they can't stand in it. It's like a really strong Aurelion Soul. Once his E is super,
I mean, look at that damage to the clone alone. Like, it did half his HP from 1.
Yeah, and again, Udyr now has so many. Udyr's cooldowns are not there, so that he's able to have his empowered R's up pretty quickly. We also see Manchester is going to take a very, very slow base. However, Manchester's Baron is going to expire in 5 seconds. So this could look, if Valpo is able to turn around and get a potential fight here, this could be. Manchester's got to be careful now as their Baron's expired, so they no longer have the super minion advantage, and with the base being right there, Valpo could look to try to reverse team fight this and get a few picks out. Poke trying to find Dreadful. Dreadful getting
a hook onto the Udyr. He has to flash out, but he's getting engaged on Wukong, getting so much damage down on him, but he's healing back to full. Terrical hitting 4 people. Galio's ulting somewhere else. I don't even know where he went. Swain is able to get out of the fight. Sivir's completely chunked down, but Manchester is still strong. They're still fighting, and Wukong is actually out of the fight. I mean, they just get at least 1 tower here, right? They're actually looking to end the game. They are full health. They actually have health disadvantage right now. Huge stomp from the Terran. Tons of damage here. Darius gets a reset with the R, and he's going to get tons of damage down. Cassante doing as much as he can. Akira getting the kill on Dreadful. Huge, oh my god, so much happening.
Udyr's damage doing so much. Akimbo not being able to find the rest of the Corki, and Janna and Udyr and Corki are going to be able to finish out the second game, which will leave Manchester 2, Valpo 0, as Manchester will advance to the semifinals, as Valpo will make their way to the losers bracket.
Yes, and I mean, without a doubt, that was about as clean as a game you could expect from Manchester University. Obviously, you know, like coming into this game, you know, this was expected to be a very close game, but I mean, Manchester, I felt like it just really showed that they kind of held control for a lot of the game. Like, you know, a lot of the early game, you know, it's a bit more even, but it just felt like whenever team fights had happened, it was just, bam, Manchester gets another kill, another kill, another kill, another kill, and like they would just stack this advantage state, like this advantage state, so to speak, and then whenever they get whenever they had this lead, they made it suffocating to have to try to play against them. Like, well, and ideally here, you want to just farm and like try to like gain control that way. But you can't really farm when you have a 3-0 Udyr walking into your jungle. You can't fight that, so you just kind of have to give him space, and you give him space, he gets even more ahead, and it just becomes really, really difficult to play from there.
I was going to say definitely what you said earlier, Manchester's ability to kind of continue what was like necessarily not even like Manchester being able to take fully advantage of every lead that they were, and even if it was as small as like 100 gold, you're able to start getting that first item. If you have that first item over their laner, we saw, especially that Udyr, just continuing to make progress and continuing to become such a big threat that Valpo wasn't able to fully respond unless they had to send multiple members. And after they sent multiple members, it just, unfortunately, there was just no full way to counter them. And with the ability of that map pressure and that and the kind of soft zoning of that Udyr ult, I genuinely think that was the huge difference there. While definitely less gank opportunity, I think we noticed that in the first 10 minutes, there wasn't as much action. Valpo was able to continue their CS lead, but the problem is at about 8 minutes, both Manchester and Valpo decided to kind of go for a lot more team fights, and because of that, while Manchester was able to get ahead, Valpo didn't fully make sure to push out lanes or make sure that as much resources were going to them before they tried to initiate a team fight. And I think we saw a few times where lanes were about even, a laner went to go move in and go help for the team fight, which is what you should do. But the problem is team fights are wild. Team fights are unpredictable. Laning and CSing aren't. And so you need to make sure that if for Valpo and a reminder to Manchester, because even though Manchester was able to get ahead, it was something that's definitely of a point, is that fundamentals and making sure that waves are pushed out, you're getting as much resources on yourself as possible before you're trying to help your team. Because again, if a skirmish breaks out and it's a 1v1 and you lose a 1v1, that kind of sucks on your team. But if you're able to push and you're able to make sure that your resources are, if you're able to push a wave out while the other laner is trying to help and doesn't actually get an assist credit, you made up half of that gold worth of the kill just by doing that.
Minimizing deficits and maximizing rewards is, I think, kind of what you're bringing up.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, from there, I think that was just really well played from both teams regardless. I'm really excited to see maybe what would happen next year, or if a little more time, or maybe some different preparation happened, how this matchup would turn out. But I think we are just about out of time. We do have to sign off here. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We still going to have more matches coming up. I don't know what we're going to be planning up soon, so please stay tuned and watch it. It's either going to be Valorant or Smash. So please keep watch for that. I'm Grimbo, so I have to go play go play for my team.
And then I'm once here. I'm gonna go work with my team to figure out what's up next for both of us. And from Manchester and Valpo, good games to both sides.
Of course.
Really exciting, really good energy hearing from the arena. But with that being said, this is going to be the time that you're going to see the two of us log off for now. Hopefully you'll see the two of us back in the booth for some casting and some other games later on throughout this weekend. But with that being said, thank you to everyone that's tuning in for this League of Legends game, Valpo versus Manchester, and the stream will catch you guys soon. We hopefully will catch you guys a little bit later. Thank you all.
Yep.